All right, we have some wild developments in this Elon Musk story, and remember, keep your eye on the ball. Trump and the people around him will do anything to distract away from the fact that Elon Musk is currently enacting a hostile takeover, but that's exactly what it is. Elon Musk, the billionaires around him, and for some reason a few college-age students now have illegally accessed your data. They've illegally accessed the data of millions of federal workers, and we need to be talking about this relentlessly. Before we jump into that story, there's an equally terrifying story because Elon Musk's foe, Phyllis Fong, who was investigating Elon's brain implant startup Neuralink, was forcefully removed from her office after refusing to comply with the conditions of her termination. Elon Musk is already using his newfound Doge powers to forcefully remove people who are investigating him or people who are acting as a check on his company. Just listen to this. The Inspector General of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Phyllis Fong, was forcefully removed from her office on Monday after she refused to accept the conditions of her termination as per reports. And the thing is, her termination was entirely unjust and they didn't really give a reason. They're terminating people, they're removing people for simply investigating or questioning Elon Musk. So I want to break down some of these firings that are happening because you can look at the string of people that Elon Musk has fired or forcefully removed and gain a lot of information about his goals. So make sure you drop a like. 75% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure you're subscribed below. And before we jump into this main story, there was a massive lawsuit filed against Scott Bessent, the Secretary of the Treasury, and by proxy Elon Musk that we have to break down because the implications are massive. So the Alliance for Retired Americans, the American Federation of Government Employees, and the Service Employees International Union all collectively represent millions of federal workers, millions of retirees and service employees, and they just decided to strike back. They do not want their personal data being accessed by billionaires and his teenage buddies. So the lawsuits target Scott Bessent, they target the Department of the Treasury, and the Bureau of Fiscal Service. But the headline here is all about Elon Musk and his illegal access. So they're asking the courts to halt the defendants' unlawful, ongoing, systematic, and continuous disclosure of personal and financial information contained in defendants' records to Elon Musk and other members of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency. And here's the important part. Federal laws protect sensitive personal and financial information from improper disclosure and misuse, including by barring disclosure to individuals who lack a lawful and legitimate need for it. And the entire argument is that Elon Musk lacks a lawful and legitimate need. In his first week as Treasury Secretary, defendant Scott Bessent violated those exact restrictions. Elon Musk and other Doge members had sought access to the Bureau's records for some time, only to be rebuffed by the employee then in charge of the Bureau. But again, Elon Musk kicked out the former Treasury Secretary. He kicked them out in the same way that he's kicking people out who are investigating his businesses, who are blocking access to your information. It's getting scary. Within a week of being sworn in as Treasury Secretary, Mr. Bessent placed that civil servant on leave and granted Doge-affiliated individuals full access to the Bureau's data. Again, a senior U.S. official had to exit his position at the Treasury after a rift with Musk and his allies over the payment system. It is a hostile takeover in every sense of the term because they are taking career officials, they are taking people who are loyal to these institutions and kicking them out so they can enact their own crazy agenda. This reads, the scale of intrusion into individuals' privacy is massive and unprecedented. Millions of people cannot avoid engaging in financial transactions with the federal government and therefore cannot avoid having their sensitive personal and financial information maintained in government records. Secretary Bessent's action, granting Doge-affiliated individuals full, continuous, and ongoing access to that information for an unspecified period of time, means that retirees, taxpayers, federal employees, companies, and other individuals from all walks of life have no assurance that their information will receive the protection that federal law affords. It is a massive security threat, not only domestically, but it's an international security threat. It is wild. People who must share information with the federal government should not be forced to share information with Elon Musk or his Doge. And they cite the Privacy Act of 1974 along with the Internal Revenue Code to say, hey, You now have access to millions of people's names, social security numbers, birth dates, addresses, their telephone numbers, their emails, even their bank account information is all there because this is all necessary data for people to receive their social security payments, their veterans benefits, their federal employee salaries, and now Elon Musk can unilaterally withhold many of these payments. So according to the lawsuit, as we're reading, this unprecedented access violates multiple laws and could really screw over Elon Musk and Scott Bessent. But the question is, where it gets scary is if Elon Musk and the people around him begin to ignore the courts. If someday a lawsuit is filed, or if someday a Supreme Court decision is handed down, and Elon Musk or Donald Trump begin to ignore it, that is when we truly enter a constitutional crisis. And before we jump to the main story, let me just show you what exactly the lawsuit is looking for, because I find this incredibly fascinating and it's important to break this stuff down. So, the prayer for relief. Plaintiffs pray that this court, A, declare the defendant's decision to implement a system by which Elon Musk and Doge officials may access the Bureau's records and information about individuals and taxpayers unlawful. They're asking them to say that's unlawful. And join defendants from continuing to permit such access or obtain such personal information. And join defendants to ensure that future disclosure of individual records will only occur in accordance with the Privacy Act that I just brought up, and the Internal Revenue Code, and the SORNs applicable to the system of records at issue. Grant any temporary, preliminary, or permanent injunctive relief necessary to protect the privacy of individuals whose information is contained within the system of records, and award plaintiffs their costs and attorneys' fees. We will continue to break down this lawsuit and its implications, but just to take a step back, just to talk broadly, Elon Musk's removal of people who disagree with him, the forceful removal of anybody who is investigating him, has wild implications. So let's read this article. Fong's department investigated Elon Musk's brain implant startup Neuralink, among other investigations into the boar's head's listeria outbreak, reported the Daily Beast. I know this is a tired analogy, but could you imagine if George Soros took over certain government agencies and then began to fire and forcefully remove the people who are investigating his brain chip startup companies? Dude, Elon Musk wants to put a chip in your brain, and the people who are investigating his trials are being removed, and there's no right-wing conspiracy theories about that. In 2022, the USDA opened a federal investigation into Neuralink after staff raised concerns about potential animal welfare violations, according to reports. The complaints detailed allegations of unnecessary suffering and deaths of animals during testing, according to reports at the time. But Phyllis Fong is not the only one to be removed. Fong's removal has been a part of a broader group of watchdogs dismissed by the Trump administration, reported Reuters. Despite being given her termination notice on Friday, Fong challenged its validity in an email to colleagues, arguing the action was entirely unlawful. The former inspector general made it clear that she planned to remain in her position, but when she arrived to her office on Monday morning, she was promptly escorted out by security. The White House defended the removal of Fong and others, labeling them as, quote, rogue, partisan bureaucrats, and asserting that the changes were necessary to bring in qualified individuals. Who's this qualified individual? RFK Jr.? Who are you going to have investigating Elon Musk's companies? So again, just think about the implications of having billionaires with access to all of your sensitive data, access to the data of millions of federal workers, and any watchdog who's there to check them gets removed, sometimes forcefully. Elon Musk could do a lot of things to help his own businesses if he has control of these payments. I mean, if there is an economic collapse, Elon Musk could continue to send payments to his own companies while withholding payments to his competitors. He could only send payments to people in the government who want to bend the knee to him and stop paying people like Fong, people who may be investigating him. There are so many scary things that could happen, and we will keep a close eye on all of this for you. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. Again, 75% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so become a subscriber. It's free. Have a great rest of your day. Love you all, and peace out.